If you've ever wondered where the slugs are at, they're under your basins and cool water areas. You can see here, voles and moles have dug through here, and I've turned over one of the basins here. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. I'm actually taking apart this cascading water system because I didn't finish it off, and I had some challenges with the solar panels. Now this is going to make a great gazebo area or overhead trellis for plants, but it's not going to do the water very well because the water system works much better with power. And I don't mind admitting that I had not done this well and that I learned from my experience. But this kind of water system really does need a pump that is oversized for the tanks. And then when you're raising the fish in here, you need to make sure you watch it a little bit better, because here's what's happened here. Now that the water level is a little lower, we got a dead fish in it, and the water's turned really green. So we're actually pumping that out. Now, what was the problem I was having with solar? I have since fixed that. It was an inverter that was too small. So I have a 750 watt inverter that runs the sump pump just fine. The 300 watt didn't do it well. And of course the extra batteries are for length. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drain all this out. I'm going to take the filters away. I'm going to take all these tanks away. You can see how green that is. That green's okay if you're raising tilapia or something and you're cycling the water for fertilizer. But if you're going to have students and guests through, it's not very nice looking. But ultimately, I'm going to drain these things out, set aside the tanks, because of course I can use the tanks someplace else, and then I'll reset up the system in another location where I can have a consistent 120 power to it all the time. The solar panel is only one solar panel, doesn't really have enough power to run the pumps all the time, and running them 1 or 2 hours is not a good idea, because when the timer hits to turn the pump on, it may not have enough charge, or it may be in the middle of the night, or it may be the batteries are low and don't run the whole hour, and what ends up happening is you have water get stagnant. Now, of course, I can add aerators and other things, but the more pumps, the more power. So this system is going to be great for running some outdoor lights, maybe a cell phone charger station. We only need one deep cycle battery for that. We don't need 3. And then I can use the batteries and the inverter someplace else. But we do have some cactuses and some other plants here that were being nurseryed in this little particular spot. And we're now going to clean this whole area up. And some of these plants are going to stay and some of them are going to go. But ultimately, this filtration system works. But again, it works if it runs all the time. And another little challenge here, just because I'm being very transparent that not all the projects we do work, having that big of a gap underneath everything, I don't know if you can see that, is just inviting raccoons and cats and plants to grow through. You can see these plants have grown through. And it's a much better design to do on a hill. Now what I am doing is, and you can see some of the water here, by the way. The water is in little contour swales as I'm pumping the water out. And that water is being pumped down into the swales of this overgrown area. Now I have to look at the other videos to see why this is overgrown and what benefit we receive allowing all this to grow. I don't know if you can see it, but we got a lot of hairy vetch. We got a lot of clover in there. We got a lot of wildflowers that are kind of into season. But we're feeding all of that with the water from the tanks so that we have nothing goes to waste. Now, of course, again, like I said, I'll bring a trailer over here and I'll haul all this stuff away and we'll set it up someplace else where we have more consistent power, and we'll do the backyard aquaculture elsewhere. But for right now, if it's green, if it's ugly, it's sometimes better just to take it apart and set it up again someplace else, or to take it apart and take it as a learning lesson. It's not really a failure, it's more of a learning lesson that we can build from as we build these systems for food security, self-sustainability. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode of Prosperity Homestead Newsletter.